Good evening, everybody. The most important story over the next 7 days, the next week, is Canada will be signing the Global Compact on Migration. And it's my opinion that a lot of these protests in France and going into Belgium and across Europe and the yellow vest, yellow jacket protests are not necessarily just about taxes, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Mr. Macron, sorry for mispronouncing his name. It's Macron, not Marcon. Macron. Mr. Macron has backed off and said that the gas taxes won't increase in January. So that's interesting. And amongst the backdrop of Justin Trudeau signing the Global Compact on Migration on December 10th in Marrakesh, Quebec is confirming a plan to reduce its immigration by 20%. And this is not making Justin Trudeau very happy. Quote, Quebec confirms plan to reduce immigration by 20%. Bad idea, says Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I am not sure it's the best time to reduce the number of people who come. Interesting. And I'm not going to go through this. This is just a stepping stone on the way to our bigger story. And it's Andrew Scheer's Welcome to the Fight, Andrew Scheer. He says it. He says Global Compact on Migration. And he holds Justin Trudeau to account. And Justin Trudeau is, of course, not held to account. He just calls names. And we're going to notice more Rebel Media calls. I wonder if Rebel Media is going to get any money from all of that $600 million that is being set aside for media and reporting. They tend to source their reports, unlike, all of the rest of Canadian media, with some exceptions. And I don't mean to paint everyone with that one very broad brush. I'm not writing a story about white people for the CPC, am I? No. So I apologize for all of the hardworking journalists I may have maligned there, but I didn't mean to. But here's Andrew Scheer in the fight for the Global Compact on Migration. And as the leader of the opposition, he says that we've got some plans, but he didn't speak to that today. But he's still saying it, and I appreciate it. So thank you, Mr. Scheer. And here we go. This is the next minute.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals have admitted that non-binding agreements like the Global Compact on Migration can become customary international law and inform the interpretation of domestic law. This compact also contains language around sensitizing and educating journalists on how they should report about immigration. Canadians want their government, not foreign entities, to be in control of our immigration system, a system that is orderly, compassionate, and fair. Will the Prime Minister assure Canadians that he will not sign on to the United Nations Global Compact on Migration?
Prime Minister.
It's interesting, Mr. Speaker, in a question about sensitizing journalists, he's quoting Rebel Media talking points. Mr. Speaker, we are going to continue to stand up for immigration, knowing that defending diversity is a source of strength and welcoming people through a rigorous immigration system from around the world is what has made Canada strong and indeed something the world needs more of, not less of, like they want to bring in.
Not less of, like they want to bring in. And they go off talking about the India trip now and more questions on Mr. Gruel and his $1 million gambling that he totally paid off. All of his friends gave him a couple of $1 million and he paid it off last week. It's fine. Don't worry about it and don't ask questions. So question period meanders a little bit, I suppose. And Mr. Scheer's question there at the end was at the end of 5 minutes of questioning on other subjects as well, but he was leading up to that. So the link is in the description. Please do go watch it. It's interesting to watch. Justin Trudeau to me looks as arrogant as ever. I heard some people saying he's cracking under pressure, but I don't see it. I think that he believes his own rhetoric, and I think that he believes that the Rebel Media is out to print fake news or something to that effect. I think he believes his own rhetoric is what I'm saying, which is unfortunate because it's so clearly propaganda that, I mean, my goodness, the mental fortitude of our Prime Minister is just, oof, ouch. So here's Mr. Scheer again, and he did a town hall meeting with a bunch of people, and I tried to watch it, and the mic was so low I couldn't actually hear it properly, and so I understand people's frustration when they were telling me to get a better microphone, and I try my best to keep the levels up. So this is much better. I asked Mr. Scheer I didn't ask. I just put in a comment like, "Hey, can you speak to this?" And I mean, I'm thankful that he spoke to it in question period. He brought it up on the floor, and he spoke to reporters afterwards and clarified his position.
Thank you very much.
Which I appreciate, and we're going to hear it right now. He goes in English and French. I'm going to try and skip the French, so sorry, Mr. Scheer. I'm just trying to get to the English point right now. because I'm mostly English speaker. All right, thank you.
Very much. Merci beaucoup. Next week in Morocco, Canada is expected to sign on to the United Nations Global Compact for Migration, a multinational pact that aims to create global standards for immigration. Conservatives have always stood up for strong, safe, and secure borders, and we've always advocated for a safe and orderly immigration system that puts law-abiding immigrants and legitimate asylum seekers first. We have repeatedly demanded that Justin Trudeau fix the mess he has created at our border with the United States, because we believe Canada must always be in control of its borders. And we must have full autonomy over who we let into our country. It is for these reasons that we strongly oppose Justin Trudeau's plan to sign Canada on to the UN Global Compact on Migration. It gives influence over Canada's immigration system to foreign entities. It attempts to influence how our free and independent media report on immigration issues. And it could open the door to foreign bureaucrats telling Canada how to manage our borders. Canadians and Canadians alone should make decisions on who comes into our country and under what circumstances. Les Canadiens et les... And to that end, tomorrow I will introduce a unanimous consent motion in the House of Commons calling on the government to not sign on to this compact. Last week, the Parliamentary Budget Officer confirmed that if left unaddressed, the crisis at our borders will cost taxpayers over $1.1 billion by 2020. And that's not counting the hundreds of millions of dollars incurred by the provinces. This chaos at our borders has already caused lengthy delays in the immigration system and uncertainty for those who choose to enter Canada legally. Families waiting to reunite with their loved ones are being forced to wait longer because of the backlog created by illegal border crossers. And Canadians are on the hook for the Prime Minister's failure. Instead of signing international agreements that erode our sovereign right to manage our borders, the Prime Minister should focus on restoring order at them. However, if Justin Trudeau proceeds with his plan, a new Conservative government under my leadership will withdraw Canada from the compact and will restore order and fairness to Canada's immigration system. Au lieu de As Canada's government-in-waiting, Conservatives will continue holding Justin Trudeau's government to account. Fixing the mess Liberals created at our borders will be one of our top priorities when we form government next year. Conservatives have a strong track record of capably and compassionately managing Canada's immigration system in a way that prioritizes the world's most vulnerable. Les Conservateurs. We will uphold that tradition and restore confidence in our immigration system. Thank you very much. Merci.
Okay, so that's Mr. Scheer's take on it, and I again appreciate how clearly he laid out his opposition, and he stated that he would remove Canada from the Global Compact on Migration if he forms the next government. Great, I'm glad. And as I've said before, I'm a Maxime Bernier supporter. I support the People's Party of Canada. However, this helps Canada. Having more than one party saying, whoa, 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 this is too far, does nothing but help our cause. Two strong parties. And I understand vote splitting. I understand all of that. But two strong parties pushing, and hopefully the NDP joins in, although they are very ineffective and collapsing under Jagmeet Singh. Neither here nor there. They should chime in on this. That makes us better. And so two strong parties makes us better, pushes the conversation forward. And I don't think there's enough people on the left who believe what Justin Trudeau is saying. And I understand the polls are saying 40%, but the CPC got close to 60% in the last by-election. No PPC candidate running, but the CPC got close to 60%. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine that what happened in Ontario wasn't that the NDP bled votes from the LPC, the Liberal Party, or that the Liberal Party lost because that the left split the vote between the NDP and the LPC. They lost because there wasn't enough people that those policies applied to. There's a strong 20% that strong socialist policies apply to. And Just like when Stephen Harper had to go, I think people know that Justin Trudeau has to go. And the way that Stephen Harper went was we didn't vet him. People just saw the polls looking like Trudeau was going to trounce the NDP, and they went there. And who knows what's going to happen in a year? There's a whole year and a whole lot of politicking that is going to happen between now and then. And who knows what's even going to happen between now and the 10th. France is a powder keg ready to go off if it hasn't gone off already. If it's not civil war, I don't know what it is. And Mr. Macron is in a lot of trouble from a leadership perspective, and other countries are dropping out of the Global Compact daily. I don't have any new countries to report on today, but I saw a list on Twitter that looked longer than the list I have, so I have to get to that and check it out next. I haven't had time. I'm sorry. I've been busy. But the point is, it's dicey. There's an entire country that's really, really upset about gas taxes. And now the gas tax excuse has been lifted, so we'll see if the protests stop tomorrow. Whew, dodge that gas tax bullet, right? Will the protests stop tomorrow, or will it get worse? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm glad that Mr. Scheer is naming the problem, the Global Compact on Migration. I'm glad he's clear that it is a problem and poses a threat to Canada's sovereignty. And I find it interesting that Justin Trudeau automatically goes to the rebel media talking points, trying to say you're a conspiracy theorist, you're crazy. We're pushing that the message that if you read the rebel media, not only are you a conspiracy theorist, you're wrong. You're just like those conservatives, and that's a really interesting thing to say when you know that there's a large part of the population that sides with the conservative side, I guess is how to put it, but aligns themselves politically with the conservative side. And you need that balance. It's a yin and yang thing. And man, that's far too much Jordan Peterson to get into tonight, but it's the left pulls the right and the right pulls the left, and you hope for a balance. And right now the left is way, way out of balance. And as I was saying, getting back to my original point, I don't think there's enough voters that appeals to. And again, I understand the vote splitting, but even so, I believe in Canadians. I hope to believe in Canadians still this time next year. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and call your MP. They have not signed the Global Compact. Justin Trudeau has not signed the Global Compact on migration yet. Who knows? Maybe there's still time. Maybe there will be a mass crossing the floor next Monday. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Shut the government right down. Stop it in its tracks. Stop the insanity now. We don't have to wait until next year. We can hope. That's the super happy ending. Remember Wayne's World? That's how old I am. Have a wonderful night, everybody.